Welcome to the official YouTube channel for me, the Colin Cowherd Podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of our football content this postseason. Going to have instant reactions after every big game. Thanks. Rams 13, Arizona 9.
I thought they were going to lose. I mean, I had 100% confident Arizona.
They
was
only
gonna
had
score,
12.
Whether Kyler
They only had
ran
12
it
first downs. The Rams had 12 first downs. So we talk about this game for a second. So it's really interesting, and I can't quite figure this dilemma out. So generally, I think you'd agree with me. The first half is a coach's half, that you put stuff on paper, especially offensive coaches. First two series, Kevin O'Connell and Darnold, they're putting stuff on paper. And then in the second half, coaches matter, but you get 12 minutes in the locker room to really talk to your players, and there's only so much you can digest. It's a bit of an adjustment, but a lot of times the better team, the better roster, the deeper roster wins the second half. That's why Philadelphia, so crappy in the first quarter, They just roll over. They just got too many good dudes. You got too many players. And you can scheme up, you're not going to beat like Detroit, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo in a short week when you don't get extra days to coach or install things. They're just, you see these teams like Kansas City and Baltimore played 3 games in 11 days. They went 3-0.
Dominated.
You don't have time to coach up your inferior roster. And I look at the Rams, and this is weird. They got time of possession, Arizona 36 minutes, Rams 23, only 12 first downs. I can't figure this out. They are sluggish in every first half. And I watched this game, and it was almost like Stafford's not warm. Like he looks old. And then in the second half, it's almost like he's a pitcher that he needs to get to the 6th inning. But as I watch him, I'm like, in the second half, he's more fluid. He's looser. He's letting it rip. But I think I can't blame McVay. They're healthy offensively. John, Puka, Tyler Higbee, Kyron Williams, O-line's above average. I think some of it is I think Stafford looks old in first halves.
Yeah, well, I think Cooper Kupp's gotten really old
Fast.
too. I mean, he's essentially a blocker now, and he's had an incredible career, and he was a badass. But it feels like it's over. Stafford, I think there was a stretch last year where he threw a bunch of picks for like a 4 or 5 game. He is leading touchdown drives where he could have thrown 3 picks on him going through guys' hands, and he did that in the Niners game. He did that yesterday. If you remove the Bills game where they scored like 100 points, they played the Saints. That thing was a slugfest till the end. I think it was like 7-7 the majority of the game. The 49ers game was an embarrassment. They won. I'm just saying, for an offensive unit. Last week against the Jets was not very pretty, and last night was pretty ugly. Like offensively, they just have no rhythm. And like you say, it's like their coach has kind of proven he knows what he's doing. And you're watching Stafford play. He definitely looks a little older. When he gets in that mode of throwing it to other guys, I don't know if he gets a little off kilter, but he has a lot of passes, I feel, over the month. And luckily, he throws hard that are just going, and those guys play defense for a reason. If Puka was playing defense, the guy he's throwing, he would have had 10 picks over the last month. And they've gotten lucky. They've dropped a ton.
It's a one-person receiving crew. Tutu Atwell was a bust for the first several years. He gives you about a catch a game. Tyler Johnson's a bounce around the league guy. Robinson, I think it's DeMarcus Robinson. You get about 1 big catch a week. Cooper looks washed. It is incredibly reliant on Puka Nacua. And so to me, they're obviously going to go draft an ex-receiver. They need somebody up the sideline badly. They need another offensive tackle. They need a number 1 corner. I feel like they're a draft away from being a really serious team. They're just doing it now with McVay's coaching, Stafford's second half, and Puka Nacua. And I do love the defense, but in fairness, these kids are all young. Everybody's a rookie or a second-year player. There's no age on this defense at all.
I also think these last 2 years are incredible additions to McVay's resume. Like Andy Reid's resume isn't all Super Bowls. It's a lot of like, well, he went 12-5 with Jeff Garcia 1 year in Philadelphia. Like when you do things last year 1-4, or last year 3-6, this year 1-4, and to win the division more than likely back-to-back years is just an awesome job with a bunch of young guys on defense. And like you said, and listen, you get credit for the 3rd-round pick, but they're lucky that Puka is like a top 5 wide receiver. Imagine if he had just been okay, they would be in major trouble.
Okay, so I've been right on Darnold. I got to take a wrong on this. I was always a defender on Kyler Murray because I thought he was a better version talent wise of Russell Wilson. I thought he was more elusive and threw a better ball. He is historically small. He's 5'8.5". He looks so. If you take the sideline shot when he's in the pocket, sometimes you get the sideline shot. You can't see him. I mean, he's smaller than Tua significantly. No. But in the last 6 games, and this is post-Thanksgiving football, is big boy football. 5 touchdowns, 8 picks, and a passer rating in the 70s. And he's got McBride is an all-world. He's going to be a 10-time All-Pro tight end. Harrison is more than capable. Connor's an excellent running back. The O-line's okay. Not great, but okay. This is not a franchise that's bankrupt of offensive talent. There's players here. And you know what? I think work ethic catches up to you. You can go so long on talent. But John, I've always believed this. Kobe Bryant outworked people. MJ outworked people. There's a lot of guys in this league. Lack of work ethic. Curry is a workaholic. Giannis. Kyler Murray's not. And I've got it pretty connected. And the truth is it's caught up to him. Is that the really good defensive coaches, this league punishes you. I mean, you can only coach 20 hours in college. You can just get away with being talented. You can't in the NFL. And I've said this 2 weeks in a row. I like Kyler. He has a market. If you got him the right team, I think Arizona's going to have a discussion to see if they can move him. I really do.
To me, my takeaway last night was I would ride it out another year and just keep building up the team. But if you are able to unload him for anything of value, I think you could justify it. I mean, he has been a turnover machine down the stretch. Now, on the flip side, I'd go, is this team even that good? I mean, like you said, they do have some offensive pieces, but defensively, the casual football fans, beside Budda Baker, are not going to be able to name a guy. I think the coach has done a really good job to just have them in position all year. I do think it's hard. I do wonder if his market, like, would you just get rid of him for like a 3rd-round pick? I think you're better off just keeping him. Now, if you could get a high value, like, who else are you?
So,
like, what else?
I've made this argument. I think this year you can get a number 1 for Garrett Wilson, the Jets. Why? It's a bad draft. It's a really weak draft. I think Kyler Murray last year, you're not getting much. Kyler Murray next year, you may not get much. Kyler Murray in this draft, I think you can get a number 1. I really do. There's nothing. I mean, listen, every year we have 7 teams that need a quarterback. There's Cam, who will play immediately, and Shadur will play immediately. There's not another college quarterback that can play. And if the Vikings franchise Darnold, it's Aaron Cousins. I mean, to me, Kyler's going to have a market.
Yeah, he definitely would have a market. I don't know if you get a 1 because all the crappy teams that need quarterbacks are all drafted high. So would you trade like the 9th pick if you're the Raiders for him? I think you would, if you just need to kind of get a little spark in your organization, would you just give your 2nd-round pick, right, or something? And if you're them, is it just time to pivot off this situation? The irony about last night, I thought, was one of his better games. Now, he did throw, the bomb pick that was maybe a foot too high for Marvin Harrison and a great play. And the last play, it's just, a freaky, unlucky play by both guys. I honestly, here's what I will say about him. I had full confidence that he was going to lead him on that they were going to score a touchdown. I was like, the Rams are going to lose this game. And I thought how he was going to score was one of his classic scrambles. Everyone's in the back of the end zone, and he runs it right in. And when they threw that pick, you're like, God, that has to be deflating because they had him right against the ropes. But that's kind of been his defining characteristic, I would say, this last month. He has just had, turnovers have been a huge part of his game. And it's not like he's throwing up 3 or 4 touchdowns. That's the one thing with Sam Darnold. Like, he had the pick today, but he also threw 3 sweet touchdowns.
Here's the other thing if you're Arizona. He won't age well. He's not a quarterback that's going to age well because like Steph Curry ages well because he'll dribble and shoot forever. Certain guys like Russell Westbrook's age poorly because he's hyper athletic. Cam Newton aged poorly because he was not pre-snap. Cam was about just sheer talent. Big Ben, I thought, aged very quickly. Kyler's going to age quickly. By the way, how many times in that game did he face pressure? That dude does not want to get hit. Kyler,
no,
you can. He'll trip over his own feet like he didn't want to get hit. I had a pass rusher 3 years ago tell me. He goes, I played Kyler Murray. He said, I've never played against the quarterback. This is an elite pass rusher. He goes off the air. He goes, I've never played against the guy. He said, he he winces when you hit him. Like he's a baseball player. He doesn't like to get hit at all. Some guys like Burrow's like, hey, it's part of it. Darnold, Andrew
Yeah.
Luck.
Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't care.